All right, guys, welcome back to Beautiful Mind. Thank you to all my viewers and subscribers. I really appreciate your viewing and having me as a guest. If you're new here, I'm Roland Attenborough. I'm the leading gann scientific and analytical researcher. Today, we're going to be talking about our forecasts. I get a lot of inquiries about my forecasting and how I'm able to do it. And I get the odd comment when I'm off by one day, how come I missed that? So, in that, I always like to give myself a little leeway. I do these forecasts typically 1 year in advance. I have a 2025 forecast that I've done as well. So, I've already finished that year as well. It's just as easy to forecast into the future by using what has happened in the past. The past is but a repetition, and there is nothing new under the sun. So today we're going to take a look at my 2023 forecast. I'm going to make it a lot bigger so we can just go over that quickly. So I wanted to point out that in this forecast, so I made this forecast a year ago. Just yesterday, I put the price scales on this, updating it, so you can go back and see that I did not have the price scales on here for that year. I just put them on there yesterday because I just wanted to go back over and double check my work and be sure. So I found the bottoms here in the beginning of January here, and I called for them for in November, December, and January, and that was because I did a market synopsis of right here. This is the work I did in 2022 to find out what would happen in 2023. And I've taken all the movements moving up and the movements moving down, the time in between all of these moves, and I've cataloged every single advance and every single decline, just as I've done here too. Every advance, every decline, and I've noted the months we need to watch out for. Let's go take a look at the other page. This is page 2, following on with our monthly chart for Bitcoin. And I follow all the movements up and all the movements down. And I catalog the dates when we can watch for changes in trend. Okay. So if we look at these, and this is our most current market, where we made a top at 62 and 69,000. This is our all-time high. And you can see now, I'm doing my work here, and I don't know 100% for sure if they are going to repeat the past cycles. Now, we always know that, history repeats, and it rhymes. It's not always exact, so we watch what will happen in the future based on what's happened in the past. So let's just go over this really carefully. And for this entire year of 2023 up to 2024, this one goes out to February 2024, I have my counts. And from those tops, I say that we would have a series of bottoms April, May, June, and July of 2022. All right, so that's kind of interesting. Let's make this just a little smaller because it's important that we go and we talk about the market from the perspective of using forecasting, as I'm obviously interested in, as Mr. Gann has stated. So let's just go over here. We're going to go back to 2022. I don't want to make it too small because otherwise we can lose their perspective. Okay, so we're talking about these first moves down our 12, 13, 14, and 15 months from our first top. And that first top was our top on April 13th, 2021. So from there, let's go take a look at April and see what we can find. Oh, looks like we're not far enough back. Okay. Maybe I should just bring that top in so we can get a little bit of clarity on that as well. It's going to get a little small, but okay, you guys. So my forecast is taken from this top right here. Okay, this is what we're talking about. This top right here. And then we're going to run out our 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then we're going to do our 20, 22, and 27 months. And then we're going to move on to the next top here. So let's go take a look now. From this top, we're looking out 12 months to see if we can find anything where we could maybe possibly find a low. Did we have any lows in April? Well, we did. We came back and we retested these old bottoms here. So that's a direct hit. All right. We're also calling for May, the next month next to it. So let's go take a look at May and see what maybe happened there. We could expect maybe a move down. It's possible. So from our April low, we made our last little swing top and we moved down very rapidly. And certainly in May, we found another bottom. So that's a direct hit. Our next month is June. So let's go take a look at June and see if a series of bottoms is going to be coming in there. And lo and behold, we do have a series of bottoms that have been cycling down. April, May, June. Okay. So my next one, I'm calling for July as a low. Well, we did have a little low into July here. And there it is, right here. And that was the last series of these until we moved now to our 20 month. So let's go take a look at our 20 month, because our 20 month is stating that that is December 2022. Let's go take a look at December 2022 and let's just see if a series of bottoms did occur down in there. Let's just move this out of the so we can see better. Well, we've hit right down on this is a 19-month bottom, and then we start moving into December, and yeah, we do. We have a series of bottoms in December. So that's a direct hit. Our next sequence is the 22-month bottom, and it's February 2023. So let's go ahead and let's look at that now and see if we had maybe a bottom in the February period. Well, we know from January we took right off, and February we received a higher bottom. So that's a direct hit right there. Now, further moving forward now in this sequence, our last 27-month sequence from our top is July 2023. Well, as you know, in July, we were pushing up and retesting our tops before we became rejected. So July gave us this pullback here, but our real bottom didn't take place till the next month. So the 28th month. So we missed it by 1 month. That's not really a big deal. Nothing surprises me. I'm a researcher and scientist. Nothing surprises me. So there again, the next month following, we had our bottom come in. So we have our next counts. And by the way, this September right here, we're going to talk about it because it's our February 2024. We have a bottom there. More importantly, I'm talking about this September. It's our 22 month on our next count. We're just going to go over and look at that right now. Let's just do that. This is the part of forecasting I love the most with Mr. Gann's work. I'm really well with the square of nine and all the price levels, but forecasting is such an exciting thing. Okay, so from our top here, November, we were saying, okay, we're looking for our sequences now of 12, 13, 14, and 15 months. So let's go now take a look at our perceived lows based on the past. All right. So we're saying our 12-month would be coming in November. And sure enough, it did. So that's a direct hit. We also have December. Well, we look out into December. Yeah, we had a series of a low take place there. Then in January, we have a series of lows. Well, we did. We had this last bit of the low before the cycle kicked off and we got underway. And our next move out would have been the 15-month period from our November 10th, 2021 top, and that would be February. So looking out again, we have February here. And as you can see, we have a few overlapping sequences, and that's really important. And when you have sequences like that do overlap in the monthly or weekly counts, it's a really important place, and you need to pay attention to these levels because it's telling you that this is an area where, once we get above this, we're probably not going to revisit these areas. So let's move on from our February low at our 15 month. We've completed this sequence from 12 to 15, and let's go to our 20, 22, and then we'll finish it off with our 27 month, and then we'll move to 2024, and I'll show you how my forecast played out. So our 20-month bottom would be July 2023. So let's go take a look and see what maybe happened there. Well, it's calling for a July bottom. Well, we had this big retest of our overhead top and we bottomed here, but we didn't really push back down too low, but it was indicating that this isn't a level where we should watch because from there we did take off. So the bottom really came in 1 month later. So with everything, we need to give it, a little bit of wiggle room. Not a lot, but we do need to give it a little. So our next sequence would be our 22-month bottom. And these are two overlapping time frames as well. So 22 months. Let's go take a look at that. Well, down into the September, we had a series of these lows here. So that was, in fact, a direct hit. So now our last sequence for where we could expect a low would be somewhere around this February 2024. So with that in mind, we're going to go take a look now at where we are as we've made much of our market top. We're probably about to enter into that 50-48 level where my forecast seems to subside, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So from here, we're looking out to February for our next lows, and I feel that we'll be possibly retesting these areas if we have a blow off here. This would make sense because we do need to have a little bit of a pullback, in my opinion, because this year has been very hot. We've moved up 100% or more in price, and it's just time for us to shake out the weak-handed longs and retest our building block here. And it looks like it's somewhere in this vicinity here where we may gain another bit of traction. However, my forecast can be completely wrong, and we could have a major blow off and retest this 69 and whatnot. However, I think it's kind of unlikely because our ring here is coming down, and usually when we come up against these rings, it typically arrests our move and subdues it for some time while it settles and recoils. And then once we pass over the rings, as you know, we have a fast move up, much like this ending ring here. So paying attention to that. That was our forecast. That's how I made up this year. And I found all these bottoms where I told you to buy at around 25,000 and re-enter around these areas. It's no secret. The secret is in the sauce. It's you got to do the work. And I do the work exactly as William Gann states in all his books and courses. I, of course, own all of them. And I, of course, will teach you everything that I know. Okay, so from there, let's now we'll go back to our forecast. And we're going to go through the year a little bit with it. And we'll see while I built my forecast, this is what I used to trade the year. And is it relevant for us to discuss? So this is my forecast for the whole year. This is what I penned in here. This is a 2023 forecast. Will this come to fruition? Well, 2023 is over, so let's go have a look and see how the forecast stood up. Well, we were calling for a bottom in the beginning of our year, and with our forecast, we knew that from these other cycles, going back all these years, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and whatnot, that we had a high amount of highs early on in the year. So I was able to find our April top. Now, however, I was calling that we would be down by this July period and into this June, July, and August, especially this July, because I've penned it for this July. I was expecting that we would have this major pullback. And we did. We pulled down into this June area, but we had this dead cat bounce, this sucker rally here. And I was really getting concerned that we weren't going to hold this. However, the forecast stated that we would hold. Okay. But we didn't go down to 17,000 here. So this wasn't exactly, down to this level. So that's interesting. Okay. So we were off a little bit there. However, our forecast was still on for our bottoms in this area. And we knew that there was another series of bottoms to take place in August and September based on the 10-year. We knew that this period was going to be down and flat. And it wouldn't change until around September and October. Well, let's go take a look and see, because I said that it was going to go up a little and then come back down and then we would take off. And it would probably go up to around the 20,000 level near the end of this period. Well, around this August, in September, we were around 25,000. Okay, so I was really right on time, right there, 25,000. And then from that, we leaped up. And my forecast, I've penned it and said, this November, this December, and, we can get into this January and maybe have a pullback. But my forecast is calling for the end of the year to still roll over a bit. And that our price levels were going up to 40 here. So we have, in fact, moved up into our 40s here. So the forecast is 100% still intact. And this is how I'm able to find tops and bottoms. I use, a little bit more stuff, and I'm quite in depth with my forecasts. I really study the past. I look at what could happen, and I utilize all these tops and bottoms, and that's how I'm able to calculate when changes in trend are likely and due based on the movements of stocks 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90, and 100 years later. And I've derived this entire forecast from stocks, except for the last 10 years that we have record of Bitcoin, which is this forecast here. So you can, in fact, forecast into the future, tops and bottoms, and find changes in trend. William Gann was the leader in this market and has never been surpassed by anybody to this day. I, of course, study all his work, and as a researcher, I'm really pleased to have shown you my ability to utilize the concepts and methods that William was in fact doing. All right, so now that I've showed you how I made my 2023 forecast, I found all the bottoms, I found a bunch of the tops as the forecast stated, and I trust you're satisfied with that result. Let's go now take a look at the 2024. Moving to our 2024 forecast. This forecast is $2,500. It's based on all the work of the previous cycles. Why do I charge $2,500 for these forecasts? These forecasts, if you were to invest $1,000 and these forecasts that I create are correct, you could make a mountain of money and wealth for yourself and your family. So I go to painstakingly great lengths to populate and go through all this stuff and provide the most comprehensive analytical research that can possibly be done. So from there, our 2023 forecast, we were to pull up from our low 30s or mid 30s and move through our 40s. And we were going to suffer some kind of a reaction, I felt, inside that December and move sideways. And if you have a look at some of the writings that I spoke about with the market and what it may do and what it may not do, you'll see that I was calling for this swing top on the 9th and 10th of December here. That's the symbol for Sagittarius. That we would have a swing top there. And certainly we had Venus and Jupiter come together on the 9th, eh? Not too difficult to do. I mean, it's really not that difficult, guys. Like, come on. That's my forecast. I did this a year in advance, okay? It's not that difficult. So yes, it can be done. All right, let's move on. So I expected that we would have some kind of a reaction around that 45 area, and we've certainly been moving sideways in this channel, as I stated we would do. And at some point now, we are going to either have a breakdown, or we could just totally go sideways and just drive you guys mental until you just forget about Bitcoin and then it has another move up. My other scenario that I am proposing, which is in my forecast here, is that we possibly retest these areas before having another retest of our building block here. So is that going to happen? Well, it's possible, unlikely, given that the market has been going up for one solid year without having any major pullbacks that have violated any of our building blocks. So at this point, our next building block has to be either right here on this old top, or it's somewhere in these old bottoms and old tops here, or if we do not break 40,000, then this market cycle is much stronger than I figured it would be. And if that were to occur and we stay above 40, then we will definitely be retesting this area here somewhere near our halving event. So that's a scenario that can unfold. And that being the case, we're prepared for the onset of that. As you know, we don't really talk about the news, but this year the SEC has got everyone just wound right up with this Bitcoin ETFs, which actually keep your money in the fiat market. You don't even have any exposure to Bitcoin at all. None. You will have no custody of Bitcoin whatsoever. You're just buying a fiat derivative. It's just a exchange traded fund. It's not Bitcoin. It's an ETF, right? You're playing with their money. You're not playing with Bitcoin. So pay attention to that. You want to buy Bitcoin? You get on an exchange and start investing into Bitcoin, start trading Bitcoin, start mining Bitcoin. I was told by one of my colleagues from high school that I was the stupidest guy for thinking that I could actually do anything mining and building my own mines. That poor fella is eating his words so badly. Anyways, this happens. We become distracted and disillusioned. So remember, guys, pay attention to the forecasts of the past. The past is but a repetition of the future. There is nothing new under the sun. Anyways, guys, at the end of January, I'll be revealing the rest of January. At the end of February, I'll be releasing February. And as each month goes by, we will just check back and check in on the work here that I do that is dedicated to the research of William Gann. I hope this has been a good start for you to look into the market cycles and what can happen and what may happen. Peace and love, guys.